Out to get even for what my last girl put me through. Out to get even for what my last girl put me through. You told me.
Alright. This is a tutorial on Asalatos. So, first of all, where do they come from? They have sort of an ambiguous history. Some say they come from Africa, some say they come from the Philippines. I am not really sure, and frankly, I do not care. Now, what are they made up of? What are they made of? The ball is a dried up gourd. What is a gourd? Google it. The shaky sound, what's inside the gourd are seeds, dried up gourd seeds. The cord, there's different kinds of cords, different kinds of materials they use for the cords. Some people like to use shoelaces, some people like to use, I don't know, some other kind of rope. What I like is this kind of material, which is basically a cloth that's tied up in a certain way that forms a spiral. You tie it up at both ends. Why do I like this? Because it's a little bit more firm, there's a little bit more tension in it. So if you use a shoelace, it will sort of drop completely like this when you let it go. Whereas this one, if I let it loose, you see there's a little bit more tension. Okay, so how do we hold them? How do we hold the Asalatos? Well, the first exercise I would give you is to grab a piece of paper and put it at the base of your index and middle finger. Okay? Now, you're not trying to squish the paper. First of all, you can't squish the paper between your index and middle finger. But what I'm saying is just try to hold it loosely between your two fingers. Now, do the same thing with the Asalato. Put the cord between your index and middle finger, and don't hold it too tight, but not too loose either. You shouldn't be able to pull it out in this direction, away, outside, but you should be able to sort of pull it through, like this. Okay, that's the first step. Second step, how do we hold the Asalato, the first one? Well, you want to be able to hold it like this, with your index finger and your middle finger. You press it against the base of the index and middle finger. You want to also be able to hold it with just your index, just your middle finger, both. Then you also want to use your thumb. You want to be able to hold it with your thumb, just your index, just your middle finger, both, and all three. So play around with that. Then, how do you know which size is the right size for you? Well, what you need to do is the following. You take the Asalato, you put it in the middle of your hand. You close your hand like this. It should be approximately 1.5 centimeters to 2.5 centimeters between the palm, so the sort of like the palm near the base of your thumb, and your middle finger. Sort of like 1.5 centimeters to 2 centimeters. Maybe 2.5. But that's like the limit. I personally prefer around 1 centimeter, 1.5 centimeters. That's how big the gourd should be. Now, in terms of the length of the cord, well, you hold it like this, as we said earlier. You take the Asalato, and it should touch the top one. So the bottom Asalato touches the top one. You close your hands. You hold the top one with your index and middle finger and your thumb. The bottom one with your ring finger and little finger. When you hold them, the cord that wraps around your 3 bottom fingers should not be excessively tight. So it shouldn't be you shouldn't be distorting your fingers at all. It shouldn't make your ring finger go over your little finger. But also, it shouldn't be too loose. So it shouldn't be there shouldn't be any space for me to put more than the tip of my finger. So it should fit about a finger, maybe. Yeah, like that. All right. First exercise. Fold both Asalatos together and give yourself a tempo. Not too fast, not too slow. What does that mean? You don't want to be doing, you don't want to go like this either. You want to find a regular tempo, a normal tempo, but you have to know what the rhythm is first. So the rhythm is check, 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 check. How do we start the rhythm? Well, you start the rhythm, there's a preparation move, and then there's a starting move. The preparation is going up, and the starting move is going down. So the accent is on the downstroke, and you want to be preparing for the downstroke with an upstroke. So you go up, down. Get comfortable at a certain tempo. Get comfortable at whatever tempo you're doing it at. Don't lose the tempo. Tuck, 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 tuck. Don't lose the rhythm. What is the tempo? What is rhythm? Check, 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 check. So I'm not doing check, 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 or I'm not doing check, 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 hard, soft, hard, soft, hard, soft, hard, soft. All right. Next, now that we got the tempo, we got the rhythm, we know how to hold them. We're going to move on to changing the sound of the shake. So how do we do that? Pretty simple. You open the index and ring finger and you keep the thumb on the asalato. So this is what it sounds like. Now if I keep my hand closed, if I keep it open, and you always end it on the downstroke. Now we know how to keep the tempo, shake the asalatos with a certain rhythm, and change the sound of the shake. Now let's add some basic patterns to this. But in order to do that, we need to focus on some basics before we get into the basics. So some pre-basics. So let's start simple. Let go of the asalato completely, the bottom one. And I want you, notice I'm not turning my hand, I'm not supinating or pronating my hand, I'm keeping it at a, sort of like a slant, I'm keeping it kind of slanted, and I'm moving my forearm. Now what you want to do is, I want you to rock the bottom asalato back and forth, well, to the side actually, from side to side, but keep the tempo. Don't be going, just keep the tempo. Tuck, 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 tuck. And also try to keep the bottom asalato from going in a circle or from front to back. You want it to be going, you want to be rocking the asalato from side to side. Okay? So you got this. And practice with different tempos. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. Try to go really, really slow. 1, 2, 1. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So try to find how slow you could go before you can't do it, basically, and how fast you could go before it looks like shit, like 1, 2. So find a comfortable way to rock the asalato back and forth. Okay. Now the next step is to rock the asalato back and forth and slowly increase that arc. Have it go a little bit further. What I mean by increase the arc is you're going like this right now. So try to have it swing a little bit further. Okay? But controlled. Not like this. Not like this. Controlled. Slowly increase it. So once it starts hitting the other asalato, like barely hitting it, there you go. Start hitting it consistently. Not too hard. Try to hit it as soft as possible. Don't bang it against the top asalato. Okay? And try to keep it steady. Try to keep it steady as you can. Now the next step is to do the same thing. And the moment it hits, you catch it. The moment you hit it, you catch it. Because if you try catching it before it hits, it won't make a sound. Well, first of all, you might not even catch it. But if you do, it won't make that click. And you want that click. You'll see later why. You'll see why later. And also, if you catch it, if it clicks and then you try to catch it, like there's like a half a second delay, it'll slip out of your hands. Now, my general rule is it's better to click, to have asalato hit, and delay it half a second, rather than catch it before it clicks. Ultimately, what you want is you want to catch the asalato on the click, on the okay? So that will take you some time to get a hang of it. It'll take you some time to get a hang of this. But, with practice, it'll come. The next phase is this. You go from the swing to the top, and then you catch. So we're not turning our hand. We are swinging, rocking back and forth, rolling over, and catching. Over, under catch. Over, under catch. And notice how when this goes over my thumb, when this goes over my hand, my fingers, and it lands on the asalato. First of all, it lands on the asalato. It doesn't go here, it goes here. And also, it goes over my index, obviously, but also my thumb. It doesn't go in front of my thumb. It goes on top of my thumb. And look how my hand is. I want this part of the hand to be in alignment with my forearm. So now my thumb is in alignment with my forearm. What I want is my hand, the palm, this part, I want it to be in alignment with the forearm. And then, hold the asalato and start spinning. Now what tends to happen in the beginning, also notice, I'm not rocking my wrist that much, I'm rocking my forearm back and forth. Up and down actually. What happens sometimes is you'll go diagonally, you'll go kind of, this is a common mistake, or, start to bang your hand. But once you get a hang of it, and you figure out what you need to do to keep it swinging and spinning in a certain direction, it will no longer hit any part of your hand. You just get a hang of spinning it in one direction, learn how to do it in the other direction. In the next exercise, what I want you to do is you learn how to spin it now. So what we're going to do is a half spin. Well, actually it's a full spin. You're going to catch it here. So you're going to go. Instead of doing this, you're going to go whoop, 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 whoop. And you're going to do 2 spins. Notice there was no click. It's not nice. And 3 spins. And 4 spins. And 5 spins. Then go down to 4 again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then go down to 2. 1, 2, 3. No, I meant 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Then go down to 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Then go down to 1. 1. And then you play this little game where you go 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, 4 times 4, 3 times 3, 2 times 2, 1 times 1. So it looks like this. 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you start the 5 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So you try to go from 1 to 5 and back down. 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 3 times 3, 4 times 4, 5 times 5, 4 times 4, 3 times 3, 2 times 2, 1 times 1. It's a game. Why do you do it? To make your practice more fun. If you treat your practice like a game, it'll be a lot more fun to play your practice instead of seeing it as work. Next exercise. Now that we got this, we got this, we got this, and we got this. Let's see what we can do with these. next one. Next one. Now let's mix all of these together to see what comes out. Always end it like that. But you see, it doesn't sound really nice, but this is practice. Not supposed to sound amazing. Sounds okay, good enough. We're practicing the patterns we learned. The next video, we'll learn more complicated stuff. But for now, practice this, and also, I would suggest you practice on both hands. Now this hand is not as good as my right hand, and that was my fault. Since you're starting, if you're starting right now, I suggest you start practicing on both hands from the beginning, so that both hands are on the same level all the time. I mean, you might be right-handed, but it doesn't matter when you're learning a new skill. It doesn't matter whether you're right-handed or left-handed. It's all in your head. The only reason you're right-handed in a skill is because you started and you started with that side of your body and you stuck with it long enough to develop you stuck long enough practicing the skill on the side of your on that side of your body, and you sort of identified that side of the body as the skillful side and the other side is the unskillful side. But the only reason the other side is the unskillful side is because you never practiced it on that side. So I would suggest you practice all your skills on both sides from the beginning, and once you reach a proficient level, like an intermediate level in a skill on both sides, then you can proceed to practicing more difficult skills on one of the two sides. And even in this case, even in that case, I would suggest you practice difficult skills, say with your right hand, that you don't practice, that you don't do with your left hand, but you should also do difficult skills on your left hand that you don't do on your right hand. And the reasons why are too complicated for me to summarize in a video right now. Plus, I'm kind of lazy, but I might talk about this in a future video. Cool. So if you like this video, press like, share it with someone that you think might want to start messing around with Asalatos, or somebody you know that is already messing around with Asalatos and could use this tutorial, or just share it for the sake of sharing it. Whatever you want. Do whatever you want. If you share it, thank you. If you don't, thank you for watching.